I can't believe it's that time of the year again. Mid-year check-in time. I did a mid-year tag 2 years in a row and it didn't perform the best on my channel, but I still want to do it because I think it's really interesting to kind of check in halfway through the year and see how everything is going and how we're doing with our reading. I think it's really fun. I've whittled it down to only 10 questions. Some of them are relevant, some are not, but do pop some questions down in the comments and I will definitely answer them either at the end of the year or we can change it up next year. But do give me some suggestions because these are questions I got from other people's channels like Destiny and Larry, I think are the main ones I got them from. So do let me know if there's any other questions you'd like to get answered. Today, like I said, is the mid-year book tag. So this is just our midpoint check-in. I know I'm uploading this a little bit late in the year, but it's okay. It's just a month or so out. I'm really excited to talk about some of these books with you guys. In general, I think I haven't had the best reading year, and I don't know if it's because I'm pregnant at the moment. By the time you see this, I probably would have already had the baby because I am pre-filming this slightly. So there are 2 books that I still have on my TBR for the month that I'm filming this in, which is June, and I'm expecting one of them to be really highly rated. I don't know if it's because I'm pregnant that I'm feeling not slumpy, but it's just that no book is currently satisfying me, and I don't know, my standards feel very high, but at the same time not. I'm just not enjoying all the books that I'm reading. So stats wise, today's the 4th of June that I'm filming this because I need to pre-film and edit and all of that. So just bear with. I read 56 books so far. My best streak, which is how many days in a row I've read, is currently 89. And I'm trying to read every single day, even if it's a single page. And my average rating is about 3.4 stars, which is pretty normal for me. I think at the end of last year, it went up to like 3.6, but that's pretty average for me. My best reading month so far has been January, but that's because I read a bunch of manga and I read quite a few books in that month. My most read authors are obviously from that manga video that I did. I read 8 volumes, I want to say, so I'm not counting that. But I've read 3 books from Alice Feeney, 2 books from Colleen Hoover, 2 from Frederick Bachman, 2 from Sarah J. Maas, actually 3 because I haven't rated the last book I read from her, and then 2 from Suzanne Collins. So slow reading here, I would say. I got a lot of books out of my library this year. I looked at my shelf and I was like, I haven't actually added that many new books onto my shelf this year because I've been reading a lot of library books as well as Kindle books, which makes me pretty sad. But for the latter part of this year, I think I will concentrate on reading off my TBR above reading library books. But anyway, let's get started on the questions. Question number 1 that I have here is my favorite book so far this year, and I couldn't just pick one, obviously. Not all of these are 5 stars either, only one of them is, but these are all the books I really enjoyed and that will stick with me. The first book is Crown of Midnight. Absolutely love this book. I cannot stop harping on about this. Selena Sardathian is just one of my favorite female characters. That's actually a question for later, but she's so strong. Oh, I just loved it. The way this book ended as well had me in a chokehold. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it, but would 100% recommend this series. I've recommended it before and I'll recommend it again. I love Sarah J. Maas's writing, and this is up there of one of my favorite books I read this year. It still doesn't beat Akawar for me, or Akamoth as well. I love those 2, and it doesn't beat that, but I still had an amazing time. Air of Fire, also by Sarah J. Maas, and this comes after Crown of Midnight. This wasn't a 5-star, it was a 4.75. Just a little bit of a lull in the middle of the book, and it lost my attention. That's why I rated it a little bit lower, but still so action filled. It's to the brim. There's action all the way through. This spans more of the universe, so it built the world up much bigger, and all the core characters are kind of split up, so you kind of go on an adventure with all of them. There's new characters introduced. Absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. Then I have Frozen Charlotte, and this surprised me because I didn't think I would like it. I usually don't like books in certain parts of the UK because I don't like the use of language that the authors use. It just confuses me and throws me off my reading a little bit, but this was so much fun. Again, it's YA thriller / horror, and so fast paced, so unhinged and chaotic. I thought it was an amazing time, especially for my reading taste at the moment. The fact that I can't stick to anything and nothing is pleasing me. This was quick enough to keep my attention, and I would recommend. And then lastly is Beartown. Don't have this book with me. It is again from my library. Beartown was great. I didn't think I would like a book like this, honestly, because general fiction I usually find pretty boring, but this was just so human. It just spoke to how humans are and how they react to things, and how sometimes we are so easily influenced by the people people around us and our circumstances, and I thought it was absolutely amazing, and I honestly can't recommend it anymore. I don't recommend the series as a whole. I think it's unnecessary to have 3 books, but A Bear Town was great and one of my favorites, and I will be thinking about it for a long time to come. This I'm not going to harp on about at all. I'm just going to tell you the books, and that is that. Maybe a little bit of a reason. I'm going to try and keep it brief because I can carry on for this for ages, but these are all the books that I DNF'd this year, and it's been a big DNF year for me. I've written them all down because I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but the first one is Hex by Emily McIntyre. I made it to page 200. I've outgrown the genre, just didn't get on with it anymore. Wings of Ebony by JL. Unfortunately, the use of language in this book just didn't gel with me. It was too young, too hip and hood. For me, it just didn't make sense. The use of language and the genre just felt a little bit disjointed, and I just couldn't get into it. Only got to page 80. The Fear by C.L. Taylor, and like I said in this video where I DNF'd it, I am currently pregnant when you see this. Like I said, I would have had the baby already, but I'm having a baby girl, and reading about PDFs just didn't sit well with me. It gave me the ick. It made me feel physically ill, so I had to put it down. I probably got about 40 pages in. The Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Bradley. I was so excited for this book. If you guys have watched any number of my videos, you'll know I was so excited for this, and it came really highly recommended. I again didn't get on with the use of language and the way the book was written. It just felt a little bit too pretentious and got lost in the sauce. Everything just got lost. She tried too hard, I feel. The narrator was unreliable. We don't even have a name for our narrator. And then we have these expats, and none of it really gelled very well for me. And I just didn't like the use of language and the words that were used. If you go watch the video where I read this in originally, I made a whole list of words that were used, which didn't need to be used. It could have been so much simpler, and this would have been so much more enjoyable. But in the end, it just was a bit boring. I did get to page, I still have a dog ear there, 170, and just couldn't do it anymore. And I tried twice. The next one is A Traitor Sister by Daliato. Again, read to page 200, but this was just too cringe. It just cringed me out so much. I couldn't do it. It was too much. I think I was fairly early in my pregnancy. I was like 9 weeks at that time when I read it, and I still just couldn't do it. It just wasn't for me. The first book I didn't love, but it left on a cliffhanger, so I picked up the next book. Then they just introduced all these characters that I really didn't care for, and the plot just went off in too many different directions, and unfortunately didn't gel well with me. DNF. The next one is The Fake Up by Justin Meyer. This was just bullshit. It was just bullshit. Didn't love it. I don't know how this book got published. It was so boring. I just couldn't do it. And then the last one is The Next Mrs. Parrish. I feel like this book didn't need to exist. I like unhinged female friendships. I like reading about females like rage and all of that, but I don't like females doing this to each other. What happened in this book, I don't like that. I just feel like it's icky. This didn't need to exist. The first book was perfectly fine by itself. So I DNF'd this at 192 pages. So moving on for that. That was the negatives out the way, I guess. But the next question is also quite negative because it's the worst book I read that actually completed. And it's called The World Outside My Window by Claire Swatman. Oh my gosh, this was ridiculous. About a woman who had agoraphobia because she almost got mugged one time. And then she becomes an alcoholic. But then her husband goes missing and she's trying to find him. So she's slowly trying to train herself out the house and stuff. She honestly had, I've said this in that video, she had the personality of a plank. It was just, I couldn't do it. I can't believe I finished the book. But because I'd DNF'd so many, I was just like, just finish it, Zanine. You have to finish it. Worst mistake, I gave this a 1.5 star. And oh my gosh, horrible. I don't even know why I gave it a 1.5. It should have been a 1 on the dot or even a 0 if I could have. But it was ridiculous. The plot was so dumb. It was written in like the 90s so that you couldn't do the normal research you would with like someone going missing and stuff. But still, just the concept of it was a little bit far-fetched and I wouldn't say taboo, but it was just so obvious and I didn't like anyone. I didn't like the storyline. It didn't make sense to me. Then another one, unfortunately, was Fairy Tale. One of the worst books I ever read. I read that book because it was just so chaotic and there was so much going on and just didn't make any sense. And the main female character was ridiculous and dumb and naive and gullible, and I just can't do that. I hated the book. I hated it. I read it. I gave this a 2-star, however, because I mean, the concept could have been cool. It could have been cool, but it just wasn't executed well. I still don't understand why everything happened, especially in the beginning of the book and how it happened. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I didn't like it at all. Question number 4 is new releases I haven't yet got to. Sorry if things have moved around. I had to get up and get these. I don't know why I didn't have them set out already, but I have 2 physically. The first one is Release Me by Tahara Murphy. I think this came out in Feb, if I'm not mistaken. I still haven't haven't got to it. I do have it on my TBR for July, and this is coming out the end of July, so hopefully I've already read it. I'm very excited for it. Absolutely loved Watch Me. I gave that a 4.5 star. Big shoes to fill for Release Me. Then I have It Should Have Been You by Andrea Mara. This came out on the 13th of January, and I just recently bought it. So I recently got it, or it came into my possession because it is a ARC, and I got it from a charity shop. So very excited to try that out. And I don't know if it came out this year, but A Spiral of Fate. Really cannot wait to read that book, but we only have it in hardcover in South Africa, and it's not going to match the rest of my books, so I'm not going to buy that just yet. But as soon as it comes out in the tall paperback, which will match the rest of my books, I definitely will read that, and I cannot wait. And then My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I don't even know if we have it in South Africa because I haven't seen it in my bookstore, but can't wait to read that. I've heard not great things about it, but I'm still very excited because the concept sounds really cool. Next question is the biggest disappointments I had this year. Unfortunately for me, that was The Mime Order. The Bone Season was one of my favorite books last year. I had so much fun with it. It was so different from any other book I'd ever read. It was so descriptive, so eerie, so dreary. I absolutely loved the whole theme of the book and the vibes that it gave off. But The Mime Order just fell a bit short. I just feel like she tried to do the exact same thing and it didn't work. We didn't need more world building. We didn't need more character background. We didn't need all that stuff. We needed to progress from the first, I want to say 200 to 300 pages of this book was just more world building and more politics, and it just didn't work for me. But the latter half of the book was much better, and I gave that a 3-star because of it. But I was really disappointed because I was expecting a 5-star. The next one I read on my Kindle, which is The City of Gods and Monsters. Again, I thought I was going to love this book. I've only heard great things. If you watch Madison Kate, she absolutely loved this book, and I thought I would too, but then I just couldn't hack the female character. The main female character was so dumb. It's a theme with me this year, I guess. I just cannot fathom a dumb, naive female character. You're a human amongst a bunch of supernatural beings. Why do you think you can best them? Why do you think you can step up to them? There's vampires and death slayers and all these things, and you think that you, a measly little human, could step up to them? Absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. I just couldn't take it seriously. The question number 6 is the books that gave me the biggest surprise, or the most surprising books that I read. Firstly, Flawless by Elsie Silver. I don't read romance. You'll see. I don't often read much romance. I really don't, and it's not my preferred genre, but this was so much fun, and it was so fast paced, and I couldn't put it down. I read it so quickly in one single sitting. Her writing is so addictive, and I cannot wait to carry on this series. Then Pretend You're Mine by Lucy Score. This is part of a series as well. I did like one of her books. I can't remember which one it was, but I really did enjoy one of her books. But still, romance isn't my preferred genre, and I had so much fun reading this. And this had so much depth to it, and it wasn't just a fluffy little romance. It hits hard, and I really enjoyed this, which surprised me again because I'm not a romance reader. Then Beartown, obviously, like I said before, Beartown was not something I thought I would ever read, but I really just want to keep reading Frederick Bachman. I really like his depiction of human emotions and how people react, so I definitely want to read so much more from him, but had a great time reading that. And the same goes for Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Skyward series. I didn't think I would like this. It's science fiction, YA science fiction, and it was great. I had so much fun. It was so addictive. I couldn't put it down. At first, I absolutely could not stand our main female character, but in the book, she grew so much, and a male writing a female is always something that I'm iffy about, but it was so well written. I had such a fun time. I didn't feel like any of the sciencey jargon was too hard to comprehend. I heard some of these terms before. Everything else I kind of just researched, like subterfuge and all of that. I didn't know, but I just researched it. But it was so much fun, and I had a great time reading this. Question number 7 is my favorite new author this year, and I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think I have one. I have pretty much the same as last year, Sarah J. Maas, and I really like Adeline Grace's writing. And who else? C.L. Taylor, absolutely love her. So I wouldn't say there's any new authors that I would auto buy from at the moment, but yeah, same as last year. Then fictional crush. I don't get fictional crushes. I'm not one of those people, but I did really like Alexander in the Eye of the Goddess series. His name was Jason in the first book though. Really liked him. The description of him and his whole demeanor, absolutely loved that. And then also Darian Castle in City of Gods and Monsters. He made the book. That's why I gave it a 2.5, because of him. The female character, she can fuck off, but definitely him. He made the whole book worth it because he's he's just so morally grey, and yet he's a big fat softie, which I absolutely loved. Number 9 is a new favorite MFC. I don't know if I did a end of year book tag. I really can't remember, but Selena Sadathian. I love her. She's my favorite. It was Farah last year from ACOTAR, and then this year it is another Sarah J Maas character, Selena Sadathian. Absolutely love her. In the beginning, it's really annoying, her arrogance and her bravado, but ultimately she grows so much in the little books that I've read of her. Air of Fire is, like I said, book number 4 that I read from her, and she's just grown so much in that short time. So absolutely love her. Definitely my favorite FMC. Question number 10 is kind of a book that made me happy, and I can't say, like, books make me happy for different reasons. Like, I like reading a thriller, and then when you come to the end of the thriller and like you called it or whatever, then it makes you happy. But I wouldn't say, like, I guess these two books could be like Elsie Silver's Flawless and Lucy Score could have made me happy because it makes you kind of giddy. But I wouldn't say that it made me happy. Or Crown of Midnight, I loved that ending and I couldn't wait to keep reading it. So that, but I mean, that's kind of all I can say. I wouldn't say I was like ecstatic and jumping up and down. These are not questions, but it's just show and tell, I guess. And it is the books that I'm excited to read for the latter half of the year. I can't wait to read When the Moon Hatched so I can read that second book, but I haven't read the first book, so I can't even say that. But definitely Burn of the Everflame, which I'm assuming is still coming out in September. I'm not sure if it's been pushed back again, but Burn of the Everflame is really, really top up there for me. I cannot wait to read that. Sarah J Maas's books 6 and 7, I think ACOTAR 6 and 7 are coming out. So excited for that. However, like I said, I'm still making my way through Throne of Glass, and then I still need to get to Crescent City, so who knows if I'll be able to get to that this year. There was another book, the second book in the Metal Slinger series. That's purely because I'm just curious as to where it's going to go now after that stupid cliffhanger or plot twist that we got in the first book, because that came out of nowhere. Literally, that ending shouldn't have existed, but I'm still excited to see. I think it's called Lightwielder, isn't it? I'll pop pictures up anyway, but I'm excited to just see what happens there. And those are the books that I'm most excited for releasing in the second half of the year. I think there's a couple more, but that's just off the top of my head. Then we have the books that I'd still like to get to before the year ends. So a lot of these are just me catching up in the book community because I came on the scene pretty late. So I think this is my 3rd year doing this. These are all books that I'm catching up on and just really want to get to. And some of these have been on my TBR or sitting on my TBR shelf for a while. The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I cannot wait to just see what her writing is like, because I've heard all my Australian girlies love her and speak about her very highly. So I'm very curious to see if I will like this series, but it's been sitting on my TBR for far too long. The Book of Ezreal. If you've seen my July hopefuls, you'll know that this was a toss-up for me. I got this for my birthday last year. It is past my birthday this year, and I just really need to get to it. I really need to get to it, but I'm scared because I've heard people not like it, and I really want to like it. As I said, When the Moon Hatched, I would love to get to this before the end of the year. By the time I'm filming this, I still have a couple of books to read this month, and Alchemized is one of them, so I want to space that out quite far away from this. The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, and this is the 3rd book in the Bone Season trilogy. Oh no, it's a 5-book series or 7-book series, but I can't remember, but this is the 3rd book I need to read, and I'd like to get to it rather sooner than later. An Ember in the Ashes, I just feel like I'm missing out. I have FOMO. And then Servant of Earth, I saw Emmy, I think, read this. I picked it up from like TK Maxx and was very, very curious about this plot, and it sounds really, really interesting, so I would love to get to it very, very soon. And that is everything that I have to say about my mid-year journey so far. So this year's not been great, but it's also not been the worst reading year. I've had a good time. I'm hoping that my next book is going to be a 5-star as well, because they are far and few betweens. But let me know what you guys thought of these books, if you've read any of these books, and what your opinions were, if they differ from mine especially. I would love to know. Please pop that down below in the comments. Also, like I said, pop any questions that you would like me to answer, maybe for the end of year book tag and maybe next year's mid-year book tag. That would be so helpful. Both that being said, that has been my year so far. Hope everybody has had a great 6 months. I think this is the 7th month I'm posting it in, and I hope people in the Northern Hemisphere have a great summer, and we are in the trenches of winter in South Africa with a newborn. That is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye, guys.